In this video we will be discussing about I2C protocol. Raspberry Pi Pico comes with two I2C channels. One channel is I2C 0, another channel is I2C 1. You can find I2C 0 and I2C 1 mark into different GPS I2C 0. This is the default I2C pins. You can use I2C channel 1 also. In this case we will be using I2C channel 1, which is connected to GPS 6 and GPS 7. In this case we will be connecting an I2C display module with the Raspberry Pi Pico. We have to give a ground and VCC. Then STA should be connected to generic pin number 9. That is GPU 6 and SCL. That should be connected to general pin number 10. That which I2C pin you are using or which I2C channel you are using. This I2C channel 0 is there. I2C channel 1 is here. In this case I am going to use it channel 1 which is over the pin number GPU 6 at GPU 7. Let's start creating the circuit. Now, by considering the circuit over here, we need to power up the device. So that I will do at the last. Before that, let me give the STA and SEL pins. STA should go to GPS pin number 6 or generic pin number 9. I'm taking a connection from LTA the generic pin number. And you're considering that is pin number 9. It's connected. I need to use the other one that is to SCL. That is going to generate pin number 10. I just properly connected over here. Then we need the power and the ground. So let me connect the ground first. Every side. The third pin is the ground. The last one we need the power. That should go to 3 volt. Be very careful to not power the Raspberry Pi Pico while making the connection. So here I have to connect to generic pin number 36 where we will be getting 3.3 volts. Let me find out that pin. So I just connected right now and the circuit has completed. Let's look into the program right now. Open Thorny ID and make sure that you have connected with the Raspberry Pi Pico. I forward to connect to Raspberry Pi Pico while making circuit. Make sure that you have disconnected the circuit. Now I just connected to Raspberry Pi Pico. No Micropython is loaded. Let's start with some command. For that you need SDL pin and SEO pin. Then I will make a complete program in the editor portion. For that we have to import something called a machine. And there is a library is required to run our LED display. That is very important in this case. So you see here in the Raspberry Pi Pico there is only one file is kept. That is what LEDPYT is the one I tested. This is the only file in the Raspberry Pi Pico. Here I have to add a library. So let me add that library. This is the library over here. I will be opening it. I need to upload this library into Raspberry Pi Pico. It should be loaded to Raspberry Pi Pico. We can save this file. You can give it a save as and instead of this computer you can choose that's paid by Pico. Here you have to give the same exact name what I have mentioned over here SSD1306PY. Now you can see that file has been added in the Raspberry Pi Pico. This is our library file. Now let's start into our main coding part. I said we need to import machine as well as right now. We saved a library that also we have to import same name you have to call over here. Now we have to create SDA and the SEL. I said we are going to use ITWC channel 1 in this case and general pin number 9 and general pin number 10 that is GPS 6 and GPS 7 we are going to use for the SDA and SEA. Let's create those pins. GPS 6 will be STA. GPS 7 will be SCA. Now we have to create I2C object. So we are calling I2C function from the machine module, and we have to pass the parameters as by the circuit and the pin. Now we consider this GPS 6 and 7 that comes under the I2C channel 1. So that is the first parameter we have to say. Here I have to say SD pin is which GPA pin that is already we created. This is a pin. It is named as also SDA, so you can give it SDA itself. Similarly, SEA we have to mention over here same way GPS 7 is there. That is also we named it as SEL. That part is over. Now we have to mention that what is the communication frequency which you wanted to use for the I2C. This is the frequency I'm using right now. So almost the basic part is right now over. Let me upload this code into Raspberry Pi Pico. Here proper name this time, I am using OLED and it's similarly giving already. Let's click on OK, so there are no issues over here. Now let's check what is the address of this OLED display. For that you can use I2C scan option. So it is scanned and the address is 60. So it may be helpful later when you are taking some another module. In this case, we don't need to worry because we used another library that is SST1306. So it internally root the device understandable. So we don't need to worry about in our case why you are using OLED display. Otherwise you need to use it to CSC in to find the two device address. Next step, we wanted to create another object which is using our library. From that we have to use another function that is SST1306 I2C. This time I am giving a name, something called a display. The main function is SST1306 and from that we wanted to use another function. The module is SST1306. From that we are using another function. So the function name is in capital letters SST1306. This is a function name. Here we wanted to pass the parameters. After two parameters are what is the size of the display. So we have 128 pixels in x-axis and 64 in y-axis. That the object we already created the I2C object. Let me run this. Now the display object has been created. Let's see the very important part of our program. Now we are going to upload some values into our display. The command display here I can fill 0 or 1. If I fill it with 1, the display becomes on, that means it is completely filled with each and every small LED in the display becomes on. Oops, nothing is showing in the display. Because we have to do one more command over here. That command is something called a show. This one you have to use, it's very important command display.show. Let's see then what will happen into the display. Now you see the display is completely filled with ones. That means all the small LED is on the display right now on condition. I can make that to 0. So nothing has happened. Because we haven't called the display show option. Let me run this. Now everything becomes dark. So display shows very important and display field 0 also very important. Once you wanted to refresh your display. Now let's see how we can actually display some text in the OLED. It's very easy. You have to check for the spelling display text because we wanted to show some text. The first parameter, what is the text you wanted to show? So hello world I can give. The know their parameters which we wanted to pass are what are the positions for the hello world. So extreme corner here, this extreme corner will be considered as 0 by 0. And here it is increases the down also. So in x-axis I need 0 position and y-axis also I need 0 position. That means extreme top corner will come over there. So let me enter. Nothing is showing in the display. Because we have to call for the show option. Now you can see the hello world has been drawn over there. If you wanted to refresh this, definitely you have to fill it with 0. So next command, you have to first fill it with 0. Then you have to say that show option. Then only everything will wipe it out. So that you keep it in mind. Remember it. Then not only this, we can also use for some lines and all. So let me again show hello world. So it is already sent. It is haven't asked for showing it. And I can make horizontal and vertical lines. So let me create a horizontal line with this display H line. That is the command for the horizontal line. And here we wanted to pass the parameters are the X and Y axis. So here I wanted to start from 0. That is in the Y position where it wanted to be. Then length of it. It's very important length. So you can give any length which you needed. Then where it should have to be 0 or 1s, that means 0 means the LEDs inside that would be off. 1s means the LEDs inside will be on condition. You can see along with hello world, there is a line is created. If I wanted to refresh everything again, I hope you know that you wanted to make it at field with 0. Then you have to show options. You have to call it, and I wanted to let me call this one. It says hello world instead of that hello, I'm just giving. This time I'm using stand up. And I wanted to make suppose a vertical line. Same way I can call display dot instead of H line, we will use V line. Same methods. We have to give our parameters X, Y and all coordinates we have to give it. So some random values I'm giving over here. Let me run it. I'm going to show option right now. Now you can see hello world. The vertical line also created. So I hope it is clear for you. Same way you can also create whatever you wanted to display in your display over here. Subscribe our channel for more videos.